And what about China?
I would say that they are a bit stalled.
Oh, that's gotta hurt!
At this point, Trump and his tariffs make Ross and Rachel look stable.
But first, breaking tonight, many of President Trump's on-again, off-again tariffs are back on again tonight.
President, Wall Street analysts have coined a new term called the taco trade. They're saying Trump always chickens out on your tariff threats, and that's why markets are higher this week. What's your response to that?
I kick out?
Chicken out.
Oh, and then I chicken out. I've never heard that. You mean because I reduced China from 145% that I said down to 100 and then down to another number? And I said you have to open up your whole country. And because I gave the European Union a 50% tax tariff, and they called up and they said, please, let's meet right now. Please, let's meet right now. You call that chickening out? Because we have $14 trillion now invested, committed to investing when Biden didn't have practically anything. We had a dead country. We had a country people didn't think it was going to survive, and you ask a nasty question like that. It's called negotiation. You set a number, but don't ever say what you said. That's a nasty question. Go ahead. To me, that's the nastiest question.
And it appears even those he once trusted to do his bidding are a little dizzy from the back and forth.
But could you explain the administration's justification quickly, if you could, and the legality of economic emergency invocation here on Bratz dolls and Wayfair furniture and Lululemon yoga pants? That's going to be a hard sell to a court that those are economic emergencies that deserve tariffs.
Okay, so let's take the fentanyl issue first.
I said Lululemon and Wayfair.
With chief propagandist Scott Bessent and Caroline Leavitt sent out to do his bidding, tolerance for snake oil seems to be wearing off a little bit, especially on his once prized possession of Fox News.
So the courts are basically telling you guys they think that the White House's policies, the president's policies, are in some way against the law. So why can't President Trump ask the Republicans that control the House and the Republicans that control the Senate just to make a new law?
Well, these laws have already been granted to the president by the Constitution and by laws that have been previously passed. I'll give you another example. For instance, we've been blocked in court for the revocation of visas from individuals who have the privilege of studying in the United States of America. Secretary of State Rubio has simply used his authority to revoke those visas, to revoke that privilege, and we've seen the courts try to block that. So if these judges want to be the Secretary of State or they want to be the president, they can run for office themselves. It should be the other way around. But all of the actions the president has taken rely on legal authorities that have already been granted to him by our nation's existing laws.
And on a different
Host Brett Barr found it tough to try and spin his on and off again turbulent tariff policy. While reporting on the latest ebb and flow, Barr questioned Scott Bessent on whether or not there was any deals in place, to which Bessent responded that trade talks with China had stalled.
But first, breaking tonight, many of President Trump's on-again, off-again tariffs are back on again tonight. Late today, a federal court reinstated the levies.
I'll put it to you, does this sound like there was ever a deal on the table?
And what about China, specifically China, and that obviously started in a different place? How can you characterize those talks now?
I would say that they are a bit stalled. I believe that we will be having more talks with them in the next few weeks, and I believe we may at some point have a call between the president and party chair Xi.
So stalled, there was a time when the president thought that it was moving forward pretty significantly.
Again, I think that given the magnitude of the talks, given the complexity, that this is going to require both leaders to weigh in with each other. They have a very good relationship, and I am confident that the Chinese will come to the table when President Trump makes his preferences known.
All right, so let me go.
All just more out of the deflection from an administration hell-bent on turning the country into one of Trump's casinos. And if anyone is keeping count on the scoreboard that was once promised to be 90 deals in 90 days, we are still at a whopping 0.
And so far, no deals have been announced, right? The grand hope, 90 deals in 90 days. That's at least what we were hoping for. Well, right now, we're just hoping for some big deals, and it's down to 83 days. And, well, the more this clock ticks down, the more trade and economic uncertainty will continue to tick higher. It's already way off the charts, as you can see. Now, this has made the recession guessing game on Wall Street really hot, but guessing recession often means a lot of false alarms. Look at this chart. So you can see the gray bars, the 3 gray bars in this chart. Those are actual recessions. So the probability worked. It was right.
With Trump's trade deals following that same trajectory as his promise to end the Ukraine-Russia war. First, it was 24 hours.
But from the night I won, and I called 2 people. You know who the 2 people are? Putin. Right? You know who Putin is? And Zelensky. And I'd say, we're going to meet. We're going to meet. And I guarantee I could work that out. I guarantee. I know exactly what I'd say, by the way. I know exactly. I tell one guy this, and I tell one guy that, and I say, you better make a deal. We would have a deal made in 24 hours.
And now it's just every 2 weeks after the other 2 weeks have passed.
You trust President Putin?
You know, in about 2 weeks.
Is Ukraine doing enough to get this?
I'd rather tell you in about 2 weeks from now.
Keep saying 2 weeks about President Putin. What is 2 weeks? Give us, what is the actual date? What is the timeline?
2 weeks or less, and if it's a little more at the time, I say, but, you know, they're losing a lot of people.
You see those little dates up at the top, April 27th, May 19th. Today is May 28th. So 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. Now we're still 2 weeks away.
I'm not happy with what Putin's doing. He's killing a lot of people, and I don't know what the hell happened to Putin. I've known him a long time, always gotten along with him, but he's sending rockets into cities and killing people, and I don't like it at all, okay? We're in the middle of talking, and he's shooting rockets into Kiev and other cities. I don't like it at all.
Mr. President, what do you want to do about that?
I'm surprised. I'm very surprised. We'll see what we're going to do. What am I going to tell you? You're the fake news, aren't you? You're totally fake. All right, any other questions? I don't like what Putin is doing, not even a little bit. He's killing people. And something happened to this guy, and I don't like it.
And akin to the shift in momentum on Fox, even the furthest of far-right mouthpieces seem to have parted with Trump regarding his handling of Russia.
The entire process is showing that Vladimir Putin actually is not particularly interested in serious negotiations, which of course he is not. Putin is waiting everybody out. That's all. America's enemies are waiting America out, which, by the way, not a bad strategy. Traditionally speaking, waiting America out in Afghanistan, in Iraq, anywhere is a good strategy. The American people get bored and they get tired, and their presidents like pulling them out of places, even if it ends in ignominious defeat, as it did in, for example, Afghanistan.
The president has always had a very odd conception of Vladimir Putin. I think he's thought that he and Putin could be kind of friends and partners and could make deals together and so on. I don't think Putin has changed. I don't know what the president's talking about. This is the way Putin has always been. He's always been a particularly brutal dictator, willing to take whatever measures he thought necessary to advance his interests, whatever he thought he could get away with. He thought he could get away with invading Ukraine. He thought he could conquer Ukraine in a matter of days. He failed to do that, and he has been spending his own people's blood and treasure for as long as he's needed to after that. And now he seems more intent than ever. He's the same old Vladimir Putin.
I mean, if this keeps up, he may just be left with Steve Bannon, Stephen Miller, and David Duke. Man, what an unseasoned dinner that would be.
And I'm also committed to the truth, Jesse. And the truth is that the Democrats are very unpopular, but so is a lot of what Donald Trump is doing. So in polling, Marquette, Fox News, all the goodies, he's down 16 on the economy, down 14 on foreign policy, 26 on handling tariffs, and 32 on cost of living. And this reconciliation bill that they're trying to pass through the Senate right now has opposition from more senators than they can handle. So you've got the Josh Hawleys of the world, who's miraculously concerned about throwing people off Medicaid. Rick Scott and Maria Bartiromo was raking him over the coals this morning about his views. Rand Paul, who has been talking about everything from how unconstitutional it is for Trump to be putting in these tariffs to how we're ballooning the deficit. Ron Johnson, Susan Collins, Jerry Moran. Those are a lot of senators that you've got to get on board. So if this is the big ticket item, right, this is the big marquee agenda piece that we're going to give tax cuts to the wealthy and we're going to take away food assistance and Medicaid. So we're hurting the poor to help the rich. That does not bode well for 2026 for the Republicans or for 2028 when we're going to have a big, beautiful primary and we will get a great candidate and everyone will forget about the hoity-toity and we shall be victorious.
Love this video? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch and help us blow past 1 million followers.